Well, good morning. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I know a few people are still trickling in, but that's all right. We'll get started here. Day 3 of our counselor administrator CTE 101 series. Thanks for being here. And as always, remember these are being recorded. So if you ever want to go back and refer to something or you missed something, they are posted on our website. So you can find those on our past event recordings page. All right. Next slide there, Jessica. All right, so today, here is our agenda. We are going to, again, cover, we've got a few essential elements of a high-quality CTE program that we're going to be focusing on, so we'll identify those. We're going to share a bit about some local career paths. Today, I'm going to be talking about the medical career pathways. We're going to hear from Victor Valley College. We're going to dive into labor market information and kind of what is it, how do you get your hands on it, what would be effective for you to be in the know of. We're going to talk about some updated college and career readiness indicator resources that came out from the state so that you have those in front of you. We're going to share some tools and resources that hopefully will be beneficial to you, some helpful asks to you or of all of you, so that would help move forward the CTE outcomes, and then we'll do a recap and take some questions. All right. Next slide, Jessica. All right, so the essential elements of a high quality CTE program. We're diving into 5 of them again today, some similar ones to before. We're going to talk more about career exploration and guidance. We're going to share about some industry partnerships, talk about system alignment, which again, knowing the data, knowing what pathways are strong out there is, and how to hand off between systems can be good. Evaluation, accountability, and continuous improvement. As always, want to make sure that we are pointing students towards viable career options. And then we'll talk about CTE outreach, promotion, marketing, and communication as always. And remember, these are all elements that are required by the district to be able to document and show what they're doing so that can justify the funds and the grants and all that good stuff. So these things are all important. Next slide. So the career paths that you need to know about, like I said today, next slide, I'm going to be diving into medical. There we go. So medical, some health careers. So medical continues to be our largest program across the high desert, but I wanted to share some information. We had an advisory last night focused on allied health, and we heard from some local industry partners, and wanted to give you some updated information. So the 5-year demand continues to be strong. I'll go into some deeper industry pathway, labor market information here in a second, but basically in the high desert region, we're looking at about 2.6 thousand jobs over the next 5 years. Countywide, there's about 18,000 jobs. The report alpha for medical partners last night is that basically if the students are in the careers that are actually like patient touching careers, so nurses, everything, nurses, doctors, phlebotomists, everything in between, like you're going to have work. So if you, the words were like, if you jive on helping people and working with patients, the chances are that you're going to have a great career options. And if you're in with the kind of the support side, certainly lots of opportunities there. Just they advise, like, make sure you plan out your career path well, so you know what steps that you're taking, so that you can, get to whatever your target outcome is. Telehealth, I think we all understand with the realities of COVID and wanting to limit the amount of people coming into a building, telehealth, so either via phone call or primarily, actually, most of the hospitals seem like they're using Zoom, that continues to grow, which seems to have a lot of benefits for patients people are skipping less appointments because you can do it from the convenience of home or whatever. But those soft skills that we talk about, this, being able to communicate with the patient, to kind of read between the lines and get the body language, whatever, over Zoom or phone calls and stuff, that stuff is important. And so that continues to be there and likely to stay. Behavioral health opportunities are also on the rise. So while we don't have as many jobs as the demand for those services would imply, it is growing. So, and by behavioral health, I mean, you don't know what that is, but like, the counseling services, the critical response to critical health or mental health concerns, we see a rise in interest both on the student side as well as on the industry side. So St. Mary's yesterday was sharing that they are hiring with some clinical clinical care areas in terms of like outpatient care and working on the what is it called, counseling services. So, and between the hospitals and some Department of Behavioral Health and some other nonprofit kind of areas, that there's going to be lots of opportunities hopefully coming in that space, and they all recognize that is a critical need. There was a lot of notion between a nurse was sharing, like the awareness of being able to tell what kind of opportunity or when somebody's having a crisis, and kind of reading into that and understanding that, processing that, and passing it directly to the correct services is certainly a need. And so students are attuned to that, kind of aware of that coming in would certainly be beneficial. We have lots of efforts still in this space. So we've got some web chats coming up. I got a slide on that here in a minute we'll talk about, but we have annual behavioral health symposium. So by that, like I mentioned, there's a lot of interest in behavioral health. So within the medical space, obviously you have a lot of people like anywhere who want to be what they see. And by that, like their experience going, like a lot of students, their experience going to the doctor is they see nurses, they see doctors, they see like medical assistants and stuff, but they don't necessarily see a lot of the other services that are out there. So what we want to do is expose students to those other career opportunities. And maybe you love medicine, but you realize I don't want to be like dealing with a patient in a bed necessarily and work in an ER or whatever, but what are the other options are out there? So we're trying to continue to expand understanding and awareness. There's that. I don't have a thing on here, but the Medical Explorers, I'm sure will continue to start it up again once and do the in-person stuff once that is allowed. There's a new apprenticeship effort around a community health worker at Victor Valley College that we may hear about during their presentation, but that's exciting to bring some additional opportunities for a lot of the preventative health or health outside of before people come to the hospital is kind of a critical need area that hospitals have been talking about for a while. We also continue to have substantial work-based learning opportunities with the high school programs. I'm sure you're all aware of those of you that have them at your schools, the medical assisting programs were on pause for the actual out in the clinics and such this school year. But traditionally, we have hundreds of students who are out there on these internships, working with patients. The dental health, the dental assisting students, because those are primarily adults through the Hesperia program. Those are out in the community. But know that students who are going into those programs, like the medical assisting, there is a very high rate of those students getting picked up by the people either they're doing internships with, or it's just a great resume thing, and then they can go continue working in industry. And industry certainly advises like medical assisting may not be an end goal career path. However, and for some it may be, but not necessarily for everybody. It's certainly a good stepping stone. So if somebody's wants to be a nurse someday, the experience you will gain, like just like the bedside manner, like working with customers and stuff through medical assisting, will certainly be a great thing on a resume as you continue to work towards a career. Like I said, it's our largest enrollment sector. We have 2,300 students who were enrolled in it last year. But that's a good thing. It does match what the career paths are out there. Let's go to the next slide, Jessica. So like before, we have a cool infographic that Andy Page put together for us at MDCP, and this is your snapshot of what is going on in the industry. And before I dive into this, I just want to remind you that we have these for all of the industry sectors, and we would really encourage you to check these out. I know we're going to dive into labor market information a little bit later. It's a really good way to tell, like, are there careers here? Like, where are the areas where we could be pointing students? So we hope that this is useful. And as always, though, if you see something you're like, hey, I know whatever big employer is not listed on here, can you get that? We would love that information. That would be great. So, and these are all available on our website. If you could go back. So talking through this briefly, what we have on the top left is occupations that may be of interest to students so that they can start doing some searches and kind of see what they may be interested in, as well as those are things that are actual job postings in the high desert using our zip codes that are out there. You can see the demand is 2,600 for 5 year with it. That's going to be an increase in demand, like 18,000 for the county. At top right, the industry continues to be dominated by females, and that's similar to what we see in the classrooms. and certainly want to recruit more males into the space. There's always a need for more male nurses, more and so on. The age breakdown, you can see we have a large influx of like 25 to 34-year-olds, but on the end of the spectrum, we have 17% of folks who are looking to retire in the next 5 to 7 years. So there should continue to be opportunities to fill openings as they come. The average salary is around, or average hourly wage hovers around that $35 an hour, which is not bad. A little lower than the county, but a little higher than the state. We've got some local employers down there on the left with websites you can check out and see where those job postings are. I know St. Mary's, our partner Kevin Mahaney last night was sharing that they just posted a couple things in the behavioral health space, so that might be interesting for people to look at. And you know, also I would encourage you see there on the second one, the Desert Mountain Children's Center, they actually hire through EdJoin on a lot of behavioral health kind of things like counseling and stuff like that. So that's a good place to check out too. I know since everyone's familiar with EdJoin, it's a kind of a cool place. You can get started working through the county and work your way up. And so some people have done that, and that's been a neat career path. In the center, you see the starting salary tends to be around $54,000, and the experienced is $82,000. Now we do have this limited towards to the master's degree kind of level. We didn't go into like the doctorate, actual like doctor physician side, because that might push that salary higher, obviously. Right side, you have the occupations and what they're making. And again, these are for local listings. So hopefully this is some good information for you. Again, feel free to use this or give us feedback if you feel like something's missing, but we hope this is helpful to you. Next slide. We have health web chats coming, continuing our theme of trying to give students some insight into what's going on in the industry. Like this session right now, we record all of these, so they're always available on our website. But one thing, know that what we are working on is when we talk about how to motivate students for local careers, we try to get local students who went through the career path. That's like one option we love to see is students who are who went to one of our schools, and so that students who are participating be like, hey, that individual is in my shoes. Like, oh, I think that I could do that. So we're trying to do those things, and always as well, like if we underrepresented groups. So we would like a male nurse, or so they would be fantastic. Same thing with our minority groups, underrepresented gender groups, those kind of things. If we can get representatives from those. So if as always, if you know somebody who you think would be dynamic and you think, hey, this person wants to get into the guest speaking thing, we would love to have that information so we can connect them. But look in the next coming weeks for a series coming on medical, and because I think that'll be some good stuff. Next slide. All right, so here's my question to put in the chat, the Starbucks giveaway. Do males or females tend to be underrepresented in medical careers?
All right, I will take it. Yes, thank you. I will. I'll take it from there. And I just also wanted to remind all of our counselors and admin that are on here, we will also send out an email regarding that web chat that will be coming up. But in the meantime, it is my great honor and pleasure to welcome our Victor Valley Community College representatives. We have Dr. Ingleson, which is our Vice President of Student Services, and Dr. Scott, which is also the Vice President of Instruction, along with several of their colleagues here today. So welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And thanks, Matt and Jessica, for pulling this together. This is such a great way for us to come and discuss our common interest in that way. May I share my screen, Jessica?
I have made you a co-host, so you are ready to go.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so as I'm getting this together here, I just want to share with you that Victor Valley College is very much committed to we're committed to making a difference in the lives of our students. And so we're very glad that we could, come together and have this conversation with you. Can you all see that? It seems to be a bit big here.
Yes, we can see it perfectly, Dr. Ingleson.
So I just wanted to share very quickly with some of the team that's here. Of course, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about our guided pathways, the RAM paths that are in development. You're going to hear from Michael Edwards, our outreach director, Frank Castaños, who works with our community ed about apprenticeships. I believe you've met many of these folks. They're not strangers to you. They're very familiar. You'll also hear from, as Jessica said, Dr. Todd Scott, who is our new Vice President of Instruction. He has taken over the role from Peter Mapumalo. And I also just want to welcome our very newest CTE Dean, Dr. Mackenzie Tarango. We're so pleased to have her join our organization. So the college has been doing quite a bit of planning recently, and all the planning that we've been doing has been integrated and has supporting our guided pathways efforts. So not only do we have a new educational master plan, but our strategic enrollment plan has been tied into that. And as I mentioned, they are both guiding our guided pathways efforts. And as you see here with the 4 bullets, the areas of focus for all of us across the campus really are student achievement, making sure that the programs that we offer are connected to our community. You know, as Matt was saying with the health, that they're looking at what is it that the employers are needing. So that community development and community building is really an undercurrent of all the work that we're doing. 2 particular initiatives are also driving not just what we do, but how we do it. One being the Caring Campus Initiative, not only for our services, but throughout the campus and including in the classroom. We want to make sure that our students feel that they belong and feel that they're important. So that sense of feeling is something that we are really focused on as a campus community. And similarly, we've built in an equity imperative to all that we're doing. And beyond just supporting the diversity of our students, we are actually going to that next step to make sure that our campus is racist, anti-racist, and that we really are very welcoming to all folks. But what's most important here is that all of our planning has been career focused. So as you all are talking about, you know, the career technical education, I would suggest that all of our programs now are being career focused, even those students that are planning to go right into a transfer program, because we know that at the end of the day, all of our programs end up in the workplace. And so we're trying through our RAM paths, our meta majors or pathways, to really identify for students all those stepping stones toward that ultimate career. So I want to share with you just very briefly those RAM paths that have been developed. We are looking to introduce our first pilot this fall, but you see here the areas around which our programs are now being organized in different schools, so that when a student identifies their path, then everything that they need for their interests will be developed through that path with our success teams. So as you see, there's many of the different career paths, and then personal and career exploration will be a part of every one of them, because we want to make sure that students really get to where their desire takes them. So the RAM paths, again, are going to be very career focused, and we want to work with students early on in their pathway to develop those career interests. So this is an area that we're really hoping to work very closely with the high schools on. We know that career exploration happens for students in their high school experience. So how can we make those connections so that the work being done in the high schools just transfers with the students as they come into the college, and that's very you know, it's very seamless. So this is something that we're going to be working with your teams on, and sort of undergoing all of this is a very intentional design plan to make sure that our students engage with not only fellow students, campus community, and all those that provide the services, but with the fellow students in that pathway. So engagement and connection are 2 very important parts of our design plan, so that intentionality makes sure that students receive every single support that is available to them, and that we don't wait for the student to come to us, but we're right there in front of the students with our coach teams, with our success coaches, and we're going to have a lot of peers that will be a part of this as well. So as I shared with you, a lot of this is redesigning and be very intentional in how we support our students. Primarily, and you're going to hear a lot more about this from Michael, is to start with the empowerment and helping students to understand that learning is a shared responsibility. College is different than high school. So during that onboarding, we're going to put a lot more emphasis in helping the students to understand their responsibility. So they don't just show up and sort of say, okay, I'm ready. Now tell me what I need to do. No, you've got to be a part of this. We are very much in support of the growth mindset philosophy. So we've designed a success. We tell our students there really is a success strategy that is almost guaranteed, that if you desire something badly enough, if you want it, if you put forward the effort, and that's where that shared responsibility, you have to do your part. And then if you know that support is necessary, no matter what your goal is, that you need to count on the fact that support will be here for you and that you will need it. And so when students can understand that those three elements together will provide for them anything that they desire, then that's a really good thing. And so lastly, I just want to share with you a little bit about what we're doing for our students now, especially during this COVID time. Holistic support has always been something that has been part of our planning, but we're seeing so clearly what a significant impact it has on our student learning. So we've got to make sure that students understand that not only is there academic support available to them, but we expect that they will need to use it. So the tutoring, the study groups, we're developing our success labs around the basic skills so that students really can be encouraged, but also enjoy their time together. The Math Success Lab, for example, is a really wonderful, engaging place where students like to come, especially when we're on campus and there's a lot of food there for them. But with regard to wellness too, you mentioned, Matt, a little bit about the telehealth. And we our board just approved last night at our board meeting, a 24/7, it's an app that's accessible to all of our registered students so they can have access to doctors, mental health professionals, anytime they need while they're a student here. We also have been training our staff and faculty in mental health first aid so that we can sort of have a peer-to-peer, see something, say something kind of environment, and are providing wellness central tools for our students in all their classes. And then lastly, I just want to share with you that we really recognize that the individuals who come to our campus are really members of the community. So we're working very closely with our community partners and the service organizations sprinkled throughout the high desert to ensure that our students have the food they need, the housing they need, as we mentioned, mental and physical wellness support, so that as an individual, they can put their attention on learning and have all of the support that they need to do that. So in a very brief way, we just wanted to share with you sort of the foundational developments and designs that we're creating so that your students have a really excellent experience once they come to VBC, the place to be. So I'm going to turn it over now to Michael Edwards and talk a little bit more about onboarding.
All right. Well, first of all, good morning, everybody. Good to see everybody on here. Matt, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while, and also good to see the rest of you. Kind of talked with you and seen you in our bridge meetings and so on, whatever. And happy to see everybody this morning. What I want to do also too is to follow Dr. Ingelson's lead, and I'm going to share my screen. If I could go ahead and do that, is that okay?
Yes, I have given you code. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Let me go here. Let's see. I need to go back here. Let me try this again here. Okay, let's start here. Go here. Okay. Well, first of all, my name is Michael Edwards, and I am the Director of Outreach at Victor Valley College. And I want to talk a little bit in regards to students who come to VBC, what they can actually look forward to and the opportunities that are presented to them. And as most of you know, you have a working relationship with us already. And through our Bridge program, we've been able to help not only a lot of students, but to give a real clear pathway and directions to how students can be successful in higher learning at the local community college. And one of the things that I want to reiterate, and I know most of you know this, but I think it's very important that we look at the affordable cost of coming to Victor Valley College. If you look at the cost of going to our college, it's about a little bit, maybe over $1,100 for the year, compared to tuitions at a CSU, run a little bit more, about $5,700, and a UC can average about $14,000. And that cost does not include, housing and tuition for room and board and so on, whatever. But the neat thing about that is I want to reiterate, is that students have an opportunity to not only remain at home to get that support, but to not necessarily go into debt. And that's so very important for a lot of our young people. And what we actually do is we give them an opportunity to kind of get ahead of the curve, so that when they do come into like Victor Valley College, they have an opportunity to not only learn and follow the pathways that we've mapped out for them, that Dr. Ingleson has shared with us, but we also make education affordable for them. And that's very important. Also, too, there's great opportunities of financial aid. Applying for financial aid, students have the opportunity of applying for the California Promise Grant that covers almost every college student's tuition and fees. So there's an opportunity to take advantage of the resources that are there to make college affordable. And one of the challenges that I've noticed that we've had in the high desert is sometimes parents may not necessarily understand the value of financial aid, and giving up the personal information sometimes can be very challenging, whether it's tax returns or personal information. And we've tried to do a very good job of including the parent in that process, so that the parent understands why this is also a good avenue for a child to take advantage of to pay for their education. But it's also a good opportunity to bring the parent in so that they have a full and a better understanding of it as well. So there are a few programs that we have that are very ideal, and I would say very, they give an opportunity to students who may be coming to the college and they're saying, okay, is there a place for me? And that is the Bridge program. The Bridge program that we have with Victor Valley College and our high schools in the high desert prepares students to come to the college, and they work with us, they work with their high school counselor. And what we do is we help students to successfully complete the VVC matriculation process. So what we actually do is work with a number of you, and we also have a one-on-one relationship with that student who's transitioning from the high school to the college, to walk them through that process so they understand exactly not only what's available to them, but how they can actually be successful at the college. And then also too, what happens is a lot of those students who happen to be Bridge students transition into our ambassadors. And our ambassadors not only turn around and serve back to the local high schools, but they actually work with the high schools in helping other students to matriculate through that process, giving them a sense of purpose and identity as far as like how I can be successful at the high school. And they turn right back around, and some of them go back to the high school campuses that they've graduated from, and they help other students to be successful. And our ambassadors are just that. They're ambassadors that take the good news into the communities with local employers, with also high school counselors, and they share that message of how students can come to the college and not only get an education, but also be employed. And this is a great opportunity because students can literally come to the school and be a student worker, meaning, in other words, you can start working on those life skills that we had talked about when we first started talking. We talked about life skills. We talked about the learning of responsibilities. And this is also a great opportunity because it allows students to work on their personal skills and servicing and helping other students to be successful in this pathway that we've mapped out for them. And then, as you also know, there's a dual enrollment. And the dual enrollment program has been very successful, where basically we're offering high school students an opportunity to enroll in VVC courses. And this gives them a sense of responsibility. It also gives them a sense of getting ahead of that curve that we talked about, where they can start learning the responsibilities and the difference between higher ed and high schools and the responsibilities that comes with that, and to get a feel for what it's going to be like to transition out of high school, to go into college, and that sense of level of responsibilities and the duties that they might have. So these are three key areas that students can look at and say, is there a place for me? There's a place for you within the Bridge program, where we prepare you to come and transition from the high school into the college arena. And then we also take those same students again, and we give them the opportunity to work and service other students who are following in their pathway. And with that being said, I just want to also take just a quick moment to share with all of you our gratitude, our appreciation that you guys have partnership with us at the college. And like what Dr. Ingleson has said, we've made some great advances, and we're doing some great things to kind of prepare an opportunity for students in our community. But I also want to share this with you in closing. One of the biggest challenges that we've had with families within our high desert, and that is keeping our students locked in to the opportunities that they have available to them. And that's been a challenge. And one of the things that we've done at Victor Valley College, and that is to find a way to include that parent to be a part of this process. Because if you can get the parent in that household to participate in the process, then you have a reinforcement in that home, which pushes the child back towards the place of learning, whether that's the high school or whether that's the college. So that's one of the things that we're working on at the college, and that is to include not only the child, but the uncle, the aunt, the cousin, the nephew, the father, the mother, to include them in that whole process so that they feel not only empowered, but they also feel to where they have a part in the process, and they can also become that voice for us in the household. So that's my part of my presentation. I want to thank all of you for this opportunity. And at this particular time, what I'm going to do is turn it over to my associate, and that is Frank.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. And okay, can you all see it, Jessica? Okay, cool, awesome. Good morning, everyone. My name is Frank Castaños, Director of Community Contract Ed and Workforce Programs at VVC. And today I'm going to highlight one of the opportunities, like Michael was mentioning, that exists for the students in our community. And that's apprenticeship programs. And basically, apprenticeship programs are programs that are directly tied to different industry partners. And it's a little bit of a different model than traditional college, where students, would normally go to school, and then upon completion of school, then they would enter the workforce. Apprenticeship is sort of a different version of that, where there's essentially working in the field as they're going to school. And so it directly ties to different companies in various trades. And I'm going to highlight a couple of our programs that we've got going. And I would appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak to students at your schools about these programs, show them what the career paths look like, show them how they can enroll in them if that opportunity arises. So the first program I'm going to highlight is our Construction Apprenticeship Readiness Program. This is a pre-apprenticeship program, and this is a course that we offer during summer and winter terms. The way it's gone the past couple of years is the summer class has really been like our hotspot for students coming fresh out of high school, but really they could enroll in either options. And this is just a great class where it gets students the opportunity to sample various different construction trades, everything from electrical to plumbing to carpentry. We go on different field trips and invite different guest speakers from the various trades. We've got great partnership with the different local unions for our area. And it's just very career minded. The whole purpose of this class is to kind of expose them to the different skills. So that way students by the end have a better idea of what type of work they like to do. And not only know what they want to do, but also they'll have contacts at each of those trades to where if they actually want to apply, they can go then and apply. Some places even accept applications during our field trips and things like that. And so it's an awesome program. It's extremely hands-on. In just, I'll say, 12 to 14 days of work days, the students are able to construct a building from nothing. Everything from the blueprints to pouring concrete to cutting the wood, you name it, they do it. It's a great experience, and then we're able to use those buildings throughout the courses and things like that. But it's really great because the students get to own that experience. Usually at the end, they write their names on the inside of the buildings as well, because it's sort of like leaving their legacy and getting them excited about something that they've built that's getting put to use. And so again, it's just an opportunity for students to get to experience these career opportunities and hopefully take that next step and apply for apprenticeship or get a career with construction. Another program we have is our Electronics Technician Apprenticeship Program. This is a partnership we've got with General Atomics. They're a great partner up here. If you don't already know, they're looking to get very involved with the high schools and exploring their different aviation and electronics career opportunities. This apprenticeship, it would lead to a certificate both at the VVC level that's recognized by the state, but also by the Division of Apprenticeship Standards. It's a sequence of the 5 classes you see listed there on the screen. And really, this program is targeting for students who are, really into computers and software, kind of have that ability to work with that type of technology. But they also are hiring in other areas for aviation mechanics and things like that. This is a 2-year apprenticeship. Just a couple things to highlight is that this program is being offered right now at our High Desert Training Center, which is our new training center across the street from the airport here in Victorville. And the image you see there on the left is equipment that was General Atomics is letting us use to offer to our students for this program, but also they're encouraging us to spread the wealth and use it for other programs as well. So if there's trainings that we can do for high schools and things like that, please let us know, and we'll definitely take advantage of this opportunity. Another program we have, this one's actually in development. It's an industrial mechanic apprenticeship readiness program. These programs, they can lead to different hands-on fields with different mining and manufacturing companies. It's a partnership we actually have with San Bernardino Workforce Development. And you should see an announcement coming out from me within the next, I'll say, month or two as to exactly what this program is, how students can apply. And our goal here is to take the students, put them in a fast track 6 to 8 week program and get those students hired upon completion. We've got commitment from about 12 different employers already that are willing to be involved with this. And so again, it's really just tying them to those careers. The next step, once a student is hired by one of those employers, then they can actually begin the apprenticeship, which is a 2-year apprenticeship. It's actually a partnership we have with Chaffey College and their Intech Center. We're currently serving the employers you see there towards the bottom: Church and Dwight, Duval Rubber, Exquadrum, Mitsubishi Cement, and Rio Tinto. They've been very involved, great participants. They've been really willing to, just work with our community, and they need workers. They need workers, and they need upskilling. So it's on us to put out those opportunities and find them the students and kind of groom them a little bit, get them ready, and then they can take them to that next step. And then the last program I want to highlight, which Matt touched on a little bit, is our community health worker program. It's also a program that's in development. We're hoping that it can be available for enrollment probably late summer, early fall. We're currently running a pilot with it right now, and it's going well. But this is, like Matt was saying, it's for students that they want to enter the health field, maybe more so on the preventative side, not necessarily as much with clinicals or hands-on with patients, but it's more of just sharing that information and resources to patients. And we've got some employer partners that we're working with currently throughout this pilot. That includes St. Joseph Health St. Mary's, Moses House Ministries, Mom and Dad Project, Valley Star Behavioral Group, and Reach Out, who's been a great partner in helping us develop this. And so this program actually just got approved about a week or so ago at the state level as an official apprenticeship program for our region. So we're thrilled to have this resource available. Like I said, it's likely going to be coming out very soon, so for students to enroll in. So look out for that, and thank you. And with that, I'll go ahead and pass it along to our Vice President, Dr. Scott.
All right, here I am. So I suppose I can share my screen, Jessica, right?
Yes, you can, sir.
So I'm just gonna cover some areas that maybe you all know or are familiar with at Victor Valley College, and some of the things that are coming up. So, you know, since May, basically all of our CTE programs are live. We've been on campus doing labs since May. And it's been very beneficial in terms of the COVID and transmission. We don't have one single case that we can track down that someone, a student, a faculty member, contracted COVID at Victor Valley College. It was, you know, they're getting it, you know, we all know they're getting it from home and they're bringing it. Did we have positive cases with students and staff? Yes, but they self-identified. We identified them early, had them quarantined, so very safe. And we had hundreds of students on campus, so it was a very safe environment for us. So public safety, criminal justice, we've just updated our corrections academy to align with the state standards. EMS, EMT, we have, was just talking to Dave Olson the other day. The county fire is very interested in developing an internship, which we'll be working on for our EMTs, moving them over, paying for the EMT program, getting them to county fire, and then sending them back to be a paramedic. And I don't know if you know that, but there's 4 cohorts a year with active firefighters that attend our paramedic program. It's in a hybrid form, so they do their lectures and their work online, and then they do their practical skills at Victor Valley College. So, you know, that's at least 200 firefighters every year from the region, active firefighters that come to Victor Valley College to get their paramedic license. We will in the next few weeks be picking up an ambulance from somewhere out back east that was provided to us by San Manuel Band. $150,000 ambulance will be all the latest, so the students can apply what they're learning in an active environment. You know, they go in the back of the ambulance. We drive the ambulance around, and then they practice their skills trying to do injections and all sorts of stuff. So it's a very valuable experience. Again, we just picked up a fire engine from San Manuel again. And I don't know if you've been out to the Public Safety Training Center, but we got more fire equipment and engines and wildland fire and type 2 engines than I've ever seen before. So we're very fortunate to have all the latest equipment for our firefighters and our fire students. So for industrial technology, welding, been live too, and very safe. Construction technology, I know Tony Bonato is actively searching to have another construction technology competition out at our place. So be looking for that for the construction tech students. Automotive, a lot of exciting things happen in automotive technology. So we have the dealership pathway. I don't know if anyone's aware of that. I'm sure you might be aware of that, but students starting out taking dual enrollment classes, and it's a NSF grant, end up at Victor Valley College and move right into a position at our local dealerships. Very fortunate to have that. And, you know, believe it or not, we don't have as many students as we would like to have in there. So, you know, if you are interested in further information for your students about the dealership pathway, please let me know and we'll connect you to the right people. So we've been spending a lot of money, and our automotive technology department is really focusing on the automated driving vehicles, the electric vehicles, and the hybrid vehicles. We have so much equipment. I just met with Lee Bennett the other day about the automated driving vehicles. You won't see the the driverless ones quite yet, but there are so many models coming out right now that already have the technology in them, built in them. You see the people sleeping behind the wheel on their Tesla going down the road. Well, guess what? Those things need to be calibrated and fixed. So we're going to be retrofitting one of our buildings over there where they pull the vehicle in, and students learn how to repair those vehicles. So there's a lot of exciting stuff, and that's the future, right? Those were the future jobs. So the students coming to Victor Valley College in our automotive department, they are learning about the automated vehicles, how to repair them, the electric vehicles and the hybrid vehicles. So we are go search around the region. You're not going to find a better automotive technology department than what you have at Victor Valley. I'm really, we really proud of what they're doing there and the faculty they have there. They're always in professional development, getting the latest information. So it's a really good program that students will be prepared for the workforce when they leave there. Our aviation, we're having some issues. We're getting booted out of one of our buildings over at the airport. So we're condensing space. So we've had to put our, the program where they do the repairing of the skins and that we put that on a pause for a little bit, but we're still keeping the AMP as vibrant as it was. We are looking for a new space. And the plan is, and it's going to be out at the SCLA. The plan is to get a much larger, much newer space, add avionics, expand the AMP program, expand our partnerships, like Frank said, with General Atomics, with ComAv. Everyone knows you get into aviation, you're going to come out with a job. I was talking to Charlotte Allen, the last interview session they had with ComAv, they hired everybody that interviewed with ComAv, all of our students. So a very hot area right now, and we need Victor Valley College. We are really going to respond to that and make a much larger program and an expanded program. So good things coming there. Health science, of course, nursing. I think I was talking to Matt yesterday. There's no doubt the nursing program, it's got a big wait list. As a matter of fact, they're trying to get through their wait list. So they're not really accepting any new applicants until fall of 22. But all hope is not lost because there's so many prereqs that need to be done. And, if you're a student waiting to get into the nursing program, go take an EMS class. I'll get to medical assisting or certified nursing assistant. Go take some of those. It will only help you in the nursing program. The nursing program has a significant attrition rate, but the most well-prepared students get through our program, and our NCLEX exam, our pass rates are 100% and have been 100%. So what I was saying with Matt was, you get through VVC's nursing program, there's 100% chance you're going to pass the state exam. And of course, the medical field is waiting for the nurses. Respiratory therapy, we are redoing their entire lab. We're spending about $500,000. So we have the proper ventilators, and we have the proper lab space for them to complete what they want. Respiratory therapy, of course, is another area. You make it through, the student makes it through our respiratory therapy program, we have 100% placement rate. It may not be in the high desert, but it's certainly down the hill. Of course, all of our students get positions when they finish the respiratory therapy program. So our allied health. So we have a new director of nursing. We are redoing our medical assisting program and completely redoing our certified, and I got certified nursing aide here, but it's nursing assistant. It's going to be very robust. It will be the latest equipment. And we're so looking forward to moving forward with getting our certified nursing assistant program up and running, and that will be coming shortly. Agriculture, we're building an animal barn down there, so students can work with livestock. We won't be housing them there, but we'll be trailering some large animals into our animal barn so the students can learn more about that. I don't know if, I'm sure you know about our paralegal program and our pathway to law school. It's basically work through community college. You have a pathway to the university and a pathway right to law school. And there are a lot of scholarships available to students who eventually want to be a lawyer. There's a shortage of lawyers, so. The latest thing here too is we're really going to be working on those short-term multi-class certificates in non-credit. So that is one of the large metrics the state has given us for strong workforce program is short-term directly to work. And we're working on truck driving school. Yay. So, and shortly here in the next probably 6 months to a year, we're going to have a truck driving school going. Now we're putting a lot of resources to that because, you know, that always shows up #1 on the hottest jobs. And, you know, every day when I'm driving to work, I pass by the Skyway trucking school, the private trucking school up there, which I know is, you know, I don't know, $20,000, $30,000 to get a truck driving certificate and license. You know, Victor Valley College is going to be free, but that Skyway truck driving school is full. I mean, the cars are parking on the street over there, so it's a great opportunity for us to work with local partners and get a truck driving school here. We are redoing one of our buildings coming up, and we're going to call that the Innovation Commons. We have a credit and non-credit entrepreneurial certificate that we're going to be putting there, and a maker space. So good things coming to that area there. And of course, you know, we are in the process of building a conference center / football stadium. Got $25 million investment in that. And what I put down there is track and field. So we can hold track and field events now. I guess we've been having trouble in the high desert with hosting track and field. What I want to say back to that too is our restaurant management program. This semester, our restaurant management program came back live too. So they're doing their labs back on campus, learning that. And that is really tied into eventually what the conference center is going to be. Hospitality program and how to cater to, you know, the conference center is going to seat 400 individuals that we need to serve, you know, food to. So there's gonna be a lot of training around how to serve 400 seated individuals. And then if you could put in the chat, this is one thing I've always been interested in. If your school has a marching band, I know it's very popular and it's popular in high schools, but not so much at community college. I know Riverside City College got a big old marching band program, but that is something that I'm kind of interested in because it really adds a dynamic to when we get the football stadium back, or when we get the football stadium going. Of course, we're going to hold our football contests and host others conferences and things of that nature. So if you do have a marching band, I'd be really interested in hearing about that, and maybe we can put something together here at Victor Valley College. So best thing for this is questions. If you have, you know, questions, I'm more than happy to take some and answer whatever I can. So thank you for taking the time to listen to me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to unmute and ask or put in the chat? Well, I personally want to just say thank you so much for everyone that was here today presenting on behalf of VVC, giving us that inside look onto what's going on at VVC, the new and exciting programs that you guys are developing, the fantastic programs you already have, the apprenticeships. I know that I can speak on behalf of everyone here today that we are beyond thankful for our wonderful partnership with each one of you, as well as VVC as a whole. The LEAs all the way to the college really develops that pipeline for our students and our community. And I thank you, Dr. Ingleson, Dr. Scott, all of your staff, Frank, Michael. I appreciate you guys being here today. And we are going to move on to the next session of our presentation, and last chance for questions. Dr. Scott, I am getting all of the responses about the band, and I will compile those and send those to you after this meeting.
Yeah, I'm checking them out. Thank you.
No worries. Alrighty. Okay, next up is, we're gonna take a quick little 3-minute. All right, welcome back. Thank you guys again for being here. I am going to now pass over to 2 of my wonderful partners at MDCP, Andy Page, which is our data and project analyst, and Carrie O'Neill, which is also a K-12 pathway coordinator and curriculum specialist.
Thank you, Jessica. Oh man, if you're not excited and motivated now from hearing all the opportunities, I mean, it just really gives me chills when I hear all the great things that are going on and things that can help our students. So I thank VVC for their participation and information. What hit home with me with Dr. Ingleson's information was that they're really preparing the students for careers, and that's their focus. And I couldn't agree more with that, because every student that comes through our classroom, our doorway, is headed towards a career. So that's a great focus. Michael Edwards mentioned how important it was to have parent involvement, and I can't also agree more with that. The sooner our parents know the opportunities, the better our students are going to be prepared to make decisions in a timely manner that will lessen the time and economic hardship that it does take to get where they want to go in life. So in our presentation, so Andy and I will be speaking about labor market information. And you know, the high schools, their career technical education programs, they're playing a key role in a region's economic vitality. They're preparing that pipeline of skilled workers for local careers. They're promoting those students to transition to those post-secondary programs that we mentioned by VVC. So these are wonderful pieces that this labor market information can help with that. Sometimes our students need to see, how much can I make? What are those jobs? What are the names? And so forth. So we know that. And so the bits and pieces that we're going to provide for you today will help you guys in doing that. Because we know that you guys have a critical component to supporting that economic future of our students. All right, so go ahead and we'll move on to that next slide, Jessica. Thank you. Recently, so January of this year, this report by Centers of Excellence was published, and the title is Top Critical Workforce Occupations. And we thought it would be very interesting and helpful to students, to counselors, to CTE teachers, to share this information and to know, like, hey, this is what's projected in the next 5 years. So the actual report is, like I said, put out by the Centers of Excellence. And what they do is they're looking at regional economies in California, and they're supporting community colleges in their efforts to identify these critical workforce occupations, okay? And so this is actually customized for the California community colleges, and they're providing this data on high growth, emerging, and economically critical industries and occupations and their related workforce needs. So this can be used for a number of different resources. But what I wanted to mention is that there's living wage information that's provided in this report. And when we're talking to students, you know, one of those things is like, they see these jobs and they're like, well, it's a job. What, you know, lots of them look at like how much, what's the hourly pay? What's the yearly pay? And so we wanted to just kind of highlight that when you're looking at labor market information, it's important to kind of know what the living wage would be for a student to provide for themselves. And we all know that students have a different living wage. You know, they could be living at home, they could be married with a child, they could be single with a child. So this report is actually looking at or giving the living wage for a single adult with one school-age child. Remember, because I said this was kind of like for community colleges. So they give you two different living wages. One is for San Bernardino County and one is for Riverside County. So you can see it's not very different. It's like, you know, 35, 40 cents. But it's also a good idea to use this data in looking at the occupations. Just want to make sure that you guys understand that it's a, you know, when you look at different reports, you're going to see the living wage might vary. Okay, so this is kind of just a starting point. So just to keep that in mind when you guys are looking through the rest of the information, because Andy's going to share some labor market information, resources, and so am I. So it does have the wage in there. So just keep that in mind. And Andy's going to go ahead and take over for the next couple slides about labor market information. Okay. All right, Andy. Did we lose Andy?
You didn't hear that?
Hey, where are you?
Thanks, Carrie. And thanks for, Carrie gave us some really good information to get started with as we go through this and we start looking at the information, especially thinking about what the living wage is as we go through. But I want to talk about a little bit about what is the labor market, right? So the labor market is data on everything you want to know about employment in a specific industry or region, such as earnings in a particular area, unemployment, labor supply and demand. The labor market is a broad overview of what's going on. So it's the big picture, you know, what's the overall unemployment rate? How many, you know, what's the overall amount of jobs that we're going to be added? Whereas labor market information is more specific. It's more about a particular or specific occupation, a specific location where employers are hiring, what the wages are for a specific occupation, what education is needed, or do they need additional training and certifications or licenses for these particular jobs? It's all about the demand, what's going on. And it's information about what's going on now and what's projected to happen in the future. And so why is that important, or how can we use LMI information? Well, in the CTE education world, it can help schools effectively direct and validate new and existing CTE programs. So when you're creating a high quality CTE program, the end goal really is for the student to gain employment in an occupation that's in demand with a living wage that will support their economic stability. And whether that's right out of high school or after their post-secondary plans. Using labor market information is also called out in our essential elements, you know, for under high quality curriculum instruction, appropriate use of data, and continuous improvement. And so that's just a little bit of background information about what labor market is. And so I do get a lot of questions on how to find LMI or how to use it. Do I have to be an economist to understand it? And I always laugh at that because I hope that's not true, or I'd be in really big trouble. So there's a lot of information that's out there that and it can be a bit overwhelming. And so we put this little booklet together of LMI resources that hopefully will help. And so over the next few slides, Carrie and I will just talk through a few of the resources that the booklet contains. Next slide. All right, so this first resource I'm really excited about because we created it for us for the Mountain Desert Career Pathways. And so I believe that you're going to be able to download this document, but if not, we can put the link in inside the chat for you to get these. And so this gives you access to all of our labor market reports. MDCP has access to a labor market analytic program called Chimera, and it allows us to create some really detailed reports that focus on our high desert region, which you can find on our website. But we've also taken the data from all of these reports and we summarize them. And I think you saw that earlier when Matt was talking about the health careers and he showed you the infographic. And so we created some really nice informational snapshots for all of our industry sectors. And hopefully that makes it easier, not just for educators, but also for students to understand. Students really were what I was thinking of when I was creating these, keeping in mind what do students want to know. And I think Carrie kind of mentioned this before, but when I was teaching, students would always say, you know, how long do I have to go to school? You know, is there going to be a job when I get finished with school? How much money am I going to make? And so these snapshots give some really good information, which can help spark some interest and then maybe start a conversation. And then the detailed reports will allow you to, for a deeper dive. And you can find all these in the industry sector folders on the website. And I don't know if, I know that I think you're gonna be able to download this document, but if not, I'm gonna put the link to our website in the chat. And so you can just go and review these reports, you know, after this presentation or when you have time. But really good information to start conversations with your students, give them an idea of where their career path is going, give an idea if there is a demand for the career path they've chosen. And if you're looking to start CTE programs, really good idea of what programs might benefit students best. Next slide.
And Andy, I am putting in all your information in the chats as you go along.
Oh, perfect.
No, you're perfect.
All right. Thank you so much, Andy. Appreciate that. So one of the resources in that guide is the Employment Development Department. And we're going to go head over there because I want you to get an idea of how to actually navigate this site, because there's there's an actual spreadsheet that you can download that you can use with your students. So I'm going to ask Jessica to allow me to share, and she's also going to put that link in the chat. And if you guys, she's just busy bee, like she's doing it all right now. So thank you so much, Jessica. But when she puts the link to the Employment Development Department, please go there, because I'm gonna guide you through how to get access to this resource. Okay, so if you can get there with me, I would guide you in this process here.
Carrie, do you not have co-host ability right now?
I've got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Just checking.
Okay, so on the link, it will take you to their landing page. And what you're going to do is there's lots of information, so you can navigate, you know, and check it out at a later date. But what I'm going to show you is the one area that you're going to look at to actually download the spreadsheet that you're going to be able to use with your students, and even like give it to them to have access and play around with. So basically this information is just going to give you regional data. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on the region that we're looking for. We're hoping that this is going to work out. And our region is the Riverside, San Bernardino, Ontario counties area. And so it will change, and then you'll get a new piece of information about the projections. Now, this is a 10-year span period, but they revise it every 2 years. So they give you a breakdown of the different industry sectors here. The light color is the projected employment, occupation, or employment in those areas. Then it gives you a snapshot of just some real important information about here's the occupations with the most job openings, but we're going to actually go to another area, which I said is kind of down here. So if you arrow down or page down to short-term projections, it should open up. And if it doesn't, go to show all. That would be this area right here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click on the occupational employment projections link, and that's going to ask you to download this resource. So it's a spreadsheet that you can filter through with your students. So I already have this downloaded. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And then I'm going to show you, sorry, that was the one that did not have the information. That's the one thing I didn't get ready in advance. I know I have it. Once you get it open, you're going to see there are going to be columns. And when you look through the columns, you're going to see that they have wage, the occupation name, the wage, and so forth. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and go through those with your students and filter down, get an idea of what they're interested in. So what I love about this particular spreadsheet is you can actually start over here. Okay, so there's the occupation title. This is the estimate that they employment base for 2019, 2021. Here's our change. We have an increase. This is our increase right here, or decrease if there is such. And they give other information that you're probably not going to end up using, but it's there nevertheless. So these would be the total job openings in each of those occupations. You're going to see a median hourly wage, a median annual wage, what education is required for entry level into that field, what experience is required for that occupation, what on the job training is necessary. So what I love is that you can go ahead and just filter by any of these and drill down to what the occupations are. So for example, maybe I have a high school student that has, we know they're not going to go, they need to go right to work. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and go none, and then we're going to filter. And then when we filter work experience, there's none. It's going to take us to all the occupations that require no work experience. We can filter down also by education. So they're not going to have any education by the time they need to get employment. So we're going to say they just have their high school diploma. Okay, what occupations are available now? So now we drill down further. And so even though our students, we have students that may not be going right away to any post-secondary, they have to get a job right away to support themselves. So this is a tool that you can use for students of any background and in any trajectory that they're going in. So that's what I love about this one. So now you can take that information, like here, I have some job titles for you. And so now they can start looking, hey, am I interested in that? Does that match me? So it's one of those things that you can use as a tool, and they can actually have themselves. You can send this to them in an email. You can share with your staff this resource. It really can be used in all areas around the school, not just with you, with your CTE teachers, with your admin. You can present it to them. This is just a great resource that can be used throughout your profession, our profession. Okay, so I would encourage you to ask me any questions if you have right now. If you were not able to get in, just let me know and I can help you with that as well. So Jessica, I'll let you go ahead and share again. And then I know we're running short on time and Jessica has to present some information. So I'm not going to spend a lot of information on this next slide. I'm just going to say, hey, this is what you would use it for, kind of thing. So ONET is another resource in Andy's labor market information guide. So this would be used for researching those occupations that maybe they found at the last site we're at. So this would be, giving information on the job duties, the education, where they could go get the education, just all kinds of information that you can find about that career. And I will go ahead and allow, I'm just going to say I have to stop now because we're running out of time. We've got to finish at 10. So we want to make sure that you guys are out of here at that time. I know you guys have a super busy schedule, and so appreciate you guys for being here, and reach out to us, and we would be more than happy to work one-on-one with anyone to help you develop any of these tools, maybe put them on your website, whatever it is, you know, that we can do to help you guys. So here's the question for our section. How can LEAs use the labor market information?
All right, like Carrie said, we're gonna make sure we monitor this time. So I have from the surveys from series 1 and series 2, we were really looking at your responses on information to get into students' hands. So this next piece of the session is about resources. So first up, and I'm gonna put this in the chat as well, CDC has come up with released brand new as of January, hot off the press, 2 resources. They've kind of divided the college and the career pieces of the CCI indicator, maybe making it a little bit more friendly to say, hey, if I'm doing this, how can I be prepared? And if I'm going down this path, how else can I be prepared? I do like the paths being together, college and career, but I'm not in charge of that. So, but I put those in the chat and put them up here so that you guys can review those a little bit later. Next up, again, like I was saying, those tools and helpful resources. So the Ready Set Career website is a very nice website that I have just became accustomed to. And what it basically does is help your students find careers. When I was in high school, the best thing my teachers did for me was the career assessment piece. I loved putting in information, asking questions about what I was good at, and then it would spit out a bunch of careers that I potentially could be good at. Because we all know as high school students, we know what we see. We see teachers, we see doctors, we see lawyers, but there is a world of other professions out there, and it is so beneficial for them to see that, for us as educators to enlighten them on those opportunities that are both regionally and further beyond. The other really nice thing about this program is it can take them by the career, local community colleges within our region. So you're not necessarily using a website that is going to spit you out in community colleges further from where our students are at. They also can see if this is the job that I want to pursue and I need to get this certification, which one of our desert colleges are offering that. It also has a nice piece in it, and I really wanted to kind of take you through it, but it looks like for sake of time, I'm just going to explain that if the students create a login, they can build, it'll walk them through step-by-step of building a resume, and it saves it on there. So they're not having to go through, where did I save that? Where is it at? It helps them build that. It helps them save it. It also saves any of the career programs that they were researching, the college programs that they were researching into their personal database. So I think that that is a very useful career exploration tool, and I encourage you guys to use it. Maybe have a couple commuters when your students are waiting to enter to speak to you. They can peruse that. The other thing with desertcollege.org is they have these pamphlets for every industry sector in our in-demand careers. I have put below kind of breaking it up a little bit about what these look like. And again, I know I've been in our counseling offices, and it's nice when those students are sitting there and they can look through these different careers. So I just put public service as an example, but they have it for every single industry sector. It gives the students a glance of what public service really is, what types of careers lie within it, what is the snapshot, like what can I expect to earn. The other thing that I really like about this college ready education is it also talks about our local colleges that offer these programs. So it's our region based. The other thing that this website also has is every single industry sector, a trifold pamphlet that you can see on the left that, again, as you can see, lists all of our local colleges, our professions, careers, average salaries. So if that's what's easier for you to print out and have for your students, they also have really big poster size information on the jobs, the predicted job openings within different regions. And I just thought that that was a super nice resource and support tool to have in our counseling offices, not just for our students, but also for our parents. Because like we said, it's about, we're not only educating our students, but we're also educating our parents about all of the opportunities that we have here in our local community, and how important our CTE programs are to develop them at the high school level so that they can continue on to the college level in the apprentice programs like Frank was explaining, and that seamless transition between the two, like we talked in session 2. The other one that is all on the same website, it's very easy. It just clicks on, and I will put this in the website in the chat quickly, is the Start Your Career. It's a quicker glance as to each industry sector, the areas of studies, and you can see the little dots on which community colleges offer those given pathways and areas of study. If you are interested and you are loving what you're hearing and you are an administrator that wants to develop CTE more, or a counselor that wants to dive deeper into CTE, this is a regional resource pamphlet that is on the same website that you can download. You're looking for the CTE deans at given community colleges. You're looking for regional job developers. This has all the contact information. It's like one stop point you in the right direction. As well as if you need, you can contact MDCP. Carrie and I'm going to put this in the chat, have developed a little shared document that has a ton of resources and really nice flyers that have different topics that you can read on. Like if you're struggling with really getting your mind around CTE, the one that I'm really interested in, that I think is beneficial for you guys, is sometimes explaining CTE, because it's, you know, maybe parents don't understand it, is that second one that talks about increasing student enrollment in CTE programs. And it's like a parent engagement tool, and it kind of gives you, hits on those key talking points that you want to encourage to pass on to your students and to your parents, to get them really understanding the true benefit of what CTE is about. So there's numerous articles on that website. Our presentation today is on that in that shared doc. All of these articles are on there. But in addition to that, if you're one that just wants to go to the website because you want the new and the most up-to-date stuff, I have also included those links to to 2 really wonderful CTE websites, the CTE Online and the ACT. So CTE, excuse me, website, and you can feel free to peruse those and hopefully strengthen your CTE knowledge. So again, we are zooming because we want to respect your time. And again, I just want to say thank you to our VVC partners. Thank you to each one of you for the work that you do with our students. Thank you to my partners at MDCP. They have been fantastic. Wealth of knowledge in bringing this 3-part series. I'm going to pass it over to our director with some helpful asks.
All right, so hey, here's our closing comments. Again, thanks for being here. Next slide, Jessica. All right, so some asks of you. We didn't talk too much about advisories today, but we've discussed it in the past. All of our programs for CTE across the region are meeting with industry partners at least once a year. They're getting to, like last night I mentioned, we had an advisory on medical, and that's where we get our industry partners together with our teachers. We also have one big one. Sometimes you hear it called the Perkins Advisory or the Regional Big CTE Advisory. You hear these different names for it. We're actually mandated by Ed Code and federal guidance on Perkins and stuff that counselors need to be represented as part of that discussion. So I would encourage you, like when you see those invitations come through through your CTE coordinator saying, hey, we need a counselor with me, like if you could do what you can to participate in that, that would be really helpful, because it's something that we're held accountable for. So it's not just a nice to offer. I mean, we would love your input, but certainly it is also kind of required. So we'd love to, you know, if you can make room for that, that would certainly help. And certainly your perspective in terms of what you're seeing with the students and maybe lack of information or what more information they want to know, where their interests are, that stuff is invaluable as we continue to design out programs across the region. we'd encourage you as things get back in person and we see field trips come back, there is always invitations for counselors to attend when we go visit ComAv or McSquadrum or the Mitsubishi Cement, these different places. There's always invitations for counselors if you're interested in attending and want to see what it looks like, you know, on your own. We would love for you to participate. With the market information, or sorry, marketing your pathways, we would just ask that you, you know, continue to market your CTE pathways. We know there's lots of good stuff going out there. One thing that's kind of interesting about the, one quick comment about the college and career readiness indicator, they broke it up into the college and the career section, which is so interesting that on the college section, when you have like this earned college credit, that's primarily being completed by the kids who would normally be put into the career section through the amazing articulation partnerships we have with Victor Valley College in Barstow. So, you know, I would just say continue to market those pathways because there's amazing opportunities for, like, if nothing else, like reimbursement of college funds. So when we had a meeting, many of you may have been there a couple years ago in aviation at ComAv, one of ComAv's facility. Every single aviation partner in the region said, yes, we offer tuition reimbursement. So what was interesting is students could go in there, get kind of an entry-level position, get hands-on really good skill sets, but then the employer would pay for their college, which is really good to know. There's neat opportunities there. We just continue to thank you for engaging with students on their career development. And then we would ask, you know, those single page snapshots of industry, be familiar with those. And if there's anything we could do to help you understand, if you have questions, or if those are, we could make a way for those to be more easily accessible to you, we would love to know that. Because we certainly want to make sure the information that we gain out of these things through, like the advisories I talked about, that is getting back to you through your important work with the individual students. And I think, is that my last slide, Jessica? Do you have one more?
Just to wrap up.
Just to wrap up. So I will keep this very brief because we just hit 10 o'clock. We hit a lot of good stuff today. We talked about partnerships, system alignment, evaluation. We heard from Victor Valley College. Thanks for being here, partners at the college. And yeah, anything we could do to make your lives more successful in terms of your career guidance work with students, please let us know that. And we'll be following this up with the survey and some information that we could get some feedback from you for what we could do next year to maybe come back to this and hit it again with some additional data points or additional information. Jessica, anything else you wanted to add there?
I just thank you guys for all the wonderful remarks in the chat. We really appreciate you guys, and we really want to continue this partnership on to next year. This is a new and inventive 3-part series, bringing you guys our community colleges, helping open the doors and knowledge on what's going on in our community. So we really want to continue to do that into next year. So if you guys could please take a second and fill out that survey. I put it in the link. I'll put it in one more time, and I'll send it out in an email because I sometimes can be over annoying. But it's really valuable because we want to continue this partnership and hopefully continue this 3-part series next year where we can continue to bring partners, community colleges, and all of those things to you guys. So again, thank you so much, and feel free to email any of us with anything that we can do, building out pathways, helping students, helping educators. Thank you again for everything that you guys are doing and continue to do, especially in this trying time.